Welcome to Kit and welcome to Agueda in Portugal for round 2 of the world's 250cc motocross World Championships. Well, for round 2 of the championships, to Agueda in Portugal then, 2 of the top riders missing from this weekend. Stéphane Tautet and Yves Bollé, both of them injured in the opening round, should be back in time for the Dutch 3rd counter of the championship. But at the moment, the reigning double 250 world champion, Stefan Everts, who is going to show us around the circuit, is the man with very little in the way of competition out front. So wearing the #1 plate again for the 97 season, let's ride with Everts.
Then we have a small straightaway. We go a little bit uphill. You see the track is very rocky, becoming very rough.
Well, fantastic ride there with Stefan Everts, the reigning world champion, but surprises in practice include pole for Pit Byra, the #7 man, supremely fast in the qualifying and taking his first pole position.
Fast schon sehr einfach heute. Ich bin eigentlich überrascht.
The big surprise, as Byra explains, was just how easy it was. He said, I was fastest in free training, and that all went remarkably easily. Then in qualifying, 2 slow runs, and then put in a quick one, and immediately grabbed pole for the first time in 7 years of trying. Talon Voland, #3, winner of the Spanish Grand Prix, was second quickest in the qualifying. and joint leader of the championship with the absent Torte.
I'm very happy. I got second today, just a fraction of a second off the first position. And I think the top three pick on this gate is important. I'm second, so I reached my goal for today, and I feel very comfortable. After winning last week, I'm very confident, and I feel that tomorrow can also be the day for me.
Runner-up in both rounds in Spain is third quickest man, Marnik Boverts.
I'm really happy with it because in free practice I make a little crash and I hurt my shoulder and my knee, so I'm really happy with this result now.
Are you injured for the race or not?
Well, just a little bit injured in my knee, but hopefully I can do 2 motors tomorrow without putting my foot on the ground, and it should be okay.
Well, for the reigning champion, fourth quickest, not perhaps the times he was looking for in practice, but Stefan Everts hoping to go a little better than he did in Spain.
No, it's not dramatic. We still have 14 rounds to go, but for sure this weekend I'm gonna give 110% and be on that podium.
Always the man to be reckoned with, Pedro Tractor. He only finished 1 heat in Spain, but he's 5th quickest here.
My 5th time is not so bad for today, so everything going well. I like this track, it's good. Not so many jumps, but it's okay for me. On this track is also many stones. You have to care about stones in the corners because you can hurt yourself very much. And if I have a good start tomorrow, I can win this race, I think. So I'm fast enough for winning.
Pointless in the championship so far. Mike Brown, 6th quickest in the training and hoping for a better day in Portugal.
I guess 6 is good for the start position, I think, and come out tomorrow and hopefully finish in top 5.
Okay. First GP in Talavera was not so good for you.
No, a few crashes, and the week before I have a crash and hurt myself, and I wasn't really 100% at the race, and this weekend I feel good.
7th quickest, just outside the leading order, is number 11, Ivan. And Yves de Maria, only 8th quickest, a little bit of a surprise there, taking some of the pressure off the leaders. And of course for Everts and the other leading riders, it's not just the on-track performance that the fans come to see, it's getting to meet their heroes. And we'll see them in action with the first heat when we rejoin kick after the break. Welcome back to Kick then, and the start of the second round of the 250 World Championship. Race 1 at Agueda. And a fairly even start from the first numbers as they come through, but a crash to it. And Betis and Marnik Boverts, most importantly, down there as well. Betis, it turns out later, although he's trying to get back on the machine, actually has broken his leg. And he's transferred to hospital. And it's the number 1 plate out front. So the reigning champion leads. Behind him, Pit Byra, the pole position man. Carlson on number 9, who made the best start, in fact, is 3rd. And Talon Voland, the American, right behind them in 4th place. And you can see already in these early laps that following a motorcycle closely on this track leaves you very open to a lot of scenery coming your way. The riders absolutely covered in the muddy shale that the track consists of. rain before the event, and you can still see a large amount of mud on the track, making it very difficult to see for everybody but the leader. And of course the stones coming up as well, adding to the problems. Classic style out front from Everett. And behind them, the battle's continuing. Brown, 75 there, moving up a place. Started only 18th at the end of lap 1, picking up positions. De Maria moving up to 4th position ahead of Pedro Tractor. And since every machine is brown from the front, it's getting increasingly difficult to see what's coming on. Marnik Boberts, there he is, 15th after that crash, back up into the lead group. Everett still leads, Byra second, Carlson and Voland still with him, so the front 4 unchanged. But Carlson is closing up on Pit Byra. And the constant rattle of stones off the visors of these guys must be a continual distraction. Saw on the practice lap just how tight this track can be in places, and also from that on-bike camera just how rocky it really is. There's Tractor 5th, DeWitt behind him, and De Maria taking the wide line in the hope of keeping up some speed. Down in 8th position. Boberts there chasing Brown, Mike Brown for 11th position. And now a change in the top order. Carlson, number 9, is 2nd. Byra down to 4th position after a mistake and a small tumble, but pushing on.
Ich war am 2. Platz und konnte sogar ab und zu etwas Druck machen.
Byra explains that he was pushing hard from 2nd position, trying to put some pressure on Stefan Everts. He was sure that he had a chance, enough speed to pass him, but fell in the effort. And unfortunately, after getting back on, he said the machine was slower than before, so I just had to battle to hold on to my 4th place. Well, that's the way it was from his view. Marnik Boberts, 11th. Having passed Brown, but not a good race for him at all. There's Brown dropping away in 12th position. Everts now starting to come under pressure for the 2nd time in the race. Carlson right with him, very close indeed. This, of course, is where Byra came unstuck, trying to find a way round. Carlson ahead, but a very fast entry leaves him floundering on the exit, and once more Everts fights back. Carlson lunges forward a 2nd time, and this time holds on to the lead. And for the first time now, Everts will have to taste the mud and the gravel of the machine he's following. So Carlson pushing on in the lead and starting to leave Everts behind him. Is Everts struggling now with a problem? Potentially so, because he is being reined in by Voland in 3rd place on the number 3 machine. Byra 4th. And behind him is Pedro Tractor on number 10. A long way back though, and Everts in trouble again. Everts battling away with Voland. Boberts in 10th position, and after that early fall, struggling with a battered body as well as a battered machine. Pit Byra, the pole man, still holding on to his 4th position. De Maria down in 7th.
dès le début de course, j'ai été crépi, donc j'y voyais pas grand-chose.
That wasn't what he thought he said. It was very muddy, apparently, at the beginning of the race. And as I rather expected, a lot of problems seeing anything at all, he said, and very tiring as well, trying to chase the leaders. So the number 9 machine staying out front, and the first win for Joachim Karlsson.
It was no problem with the bike. The bike was working perfect, as it always do, and it was my problem last week. I was doing a lot of mistakes. I did a lot of crashes, and I think I was kind of a little nervous, but for this race I felt really good, and my team worked really hard for me all weekend, and my girlfriend came down and pushed me, so it's really good.
So delight for the Swedes, and a comfortable second in the end for Everts.
I didn't ride relax, you know. I was kind of nervous and my arm started bumping, same like last week. You know, I don't feel relaxed yet. And Joachim was riding really good. He passed me very clean and no problems.
And for Voland, 3rd place.
Yeah, I'm happy. You know, that's my target every season, but this year I just need to win motos if I'm going to win a championship, so I must go for it the next moto.
And we'll bring you the action from the second race after this break when we return with Kick. Welcome back to Kick for the second round of the Portuguese Grand Prix. So the second race starts in ideal conditions, and from a disappointing first race into the first corner ahead goes 75, Mike Brown. But immediately demoted by the flying Stefan Everts. Brown under pressure from Demaria and Beverts. And as for the race 1 winner, Joachim Karlsson has crashed out.
I did a not so good start, and then I did a crash on the first lap, and then somebody rode into my shoulder or hit me from the back, so I got some pain in my shoulder. I tried to ride, and it was okay for a few laps, but then it started to hurt, so I decided to come in.
So with Karlsson out of it, Beverts second, leading Brown and Demaria. And last year's championship contenders all in the hunt for victory here in the second leg of the Portuguese Grand Prix. Beverts number 2, championship runner-up, closing on the championship winner. Demaria 3rd place, then Brown. Talon Voland coming in to contention in this second leg as well. Everts battling Beverts. And there'll be no quarter in this fight for the lead, given or asked. Demaria 3rd, Brown 4th. But all eyes on the battle between the two strongest championship runners of '96. Everett still holds it. Yves Demaria in 3rd place. Close enough to reap the rewards of any problems for the lead pair. Needs to get closer. Brown in 4th. But for how long, I wonder. Talon Voland is in 5th place, looking in good shape. And as the gap seesaws between them from lap to lap and jump to jump, wondering what he needs to do to get in contention with Brown, and the same thoughts undoubtedly going through the head of this lead pair, where to eke out an advantage. Still Everts out front, and the much drier conditions for the second run, but the track really cut up, as you can see. And the underlying strata still being fired mercilessly into the rider behind. Through comes the second group, battling away. Boland not looking quite as confident here as he was in Spain. By his own admission, still really needing to get his head around it. And Everts too, although in the post-race press conference after the first leg said he wasn't feeling comfortable on the machine, is doing a fairly reasonable job of it. Byra going well. 7th place. And Tragter is 5th. But there is Brown, post-crash, and out of the event. Still Everts and Beverts in that order. As ever was, Beverts yet to get his nose in front. Yves Demaria pushing on. Boland in 4th place, chasing him, but the Frenchman seems to be getting away. Byra in 7th place, Guys was behind him. Tragter in 5th, De Witt behind him in 6th position. And still this battle for the lead. And still Beverts unable to do anything more than occasionally get alongside. Callum Boland 4th place. And Everts fighting with all his ability, holding on in these closing laps. Desperate to deny Beverts. Yves Demaria comfortably on his own in 3rd place. Can't catch the leaders, but not under threat. Byra in 6th. And De Witt behind him, having a good run in the second race.
Because, I was 6th and 7th. This morning in free practice I had a lot of problems with my riding. I wasn't going that good. I had 20th time, so it was not so good. So I was not so confident for the race, but now 6th and 7th for me is okay now.
5th place for number 10, Tragter. But a hard-fought victory all the same for Stefan Everts, number 1.
It was very close. I just tried to make no mistakes, and I didn't look back. You know, I just said, look in front of me, and I don't want to see Marnik. Just try to focus, and I managed to do it. It was tough, but I'm happy.
So Everts wins, and for Marnik Beverts, a
Normally
tough
I didn't start
second place.
Heat, but I took some painkillers, and when I was 2nd, I was trying to think about the race and try to follow Stefan the whole race, so I don't have to think about my wrist, and I'm really happy with the 2nd place.
As well he should be, and happy too with 3rd place, I think, Yves Demaria.
Je savais que les 2 premiers Grands Prix allaient être très difficiles pour moi.
I said, I know that the first 2 Grand Prix were always going to be hard because I'm not really in peak condition, but hopefully it'll get easier as the season goes on. Now I do feel good on the bike though, so in a couple of Grand Prix, hopefully we'll be looking to win. This track's not only tough, it's also quite dangerous, so I'm very happy to take 3rd place here.
Très vicieux, donc finir 3e, c'est une très bonne place pour moi.
So Everts, Boland and Demaria, and that's the final podium for the Portuguese Grand Prix. The next Grand Prix is the 13th of April in Valkenswaard in the Netherlands, and of course you'll see it on Kick here on Eurosport. Until then, Martin Haven saying bye-bye.
This is Ben Edwards with Kick, and it's great to have your company for the next 30 minutes as first of all we take in round one of the 125cc series from Indonesia. Then we look back over the 250cc race from Talavera that we featured last week. And finally we go to Belgium for the first round of the Open World Motocross Championship. So we start off in Indonesia on the Yogyakarta circuit, the first round of the 125cc World Championship. Drama before the race even gets underway, particularly for Britain's Paul Malin, who went to Indonesia 2 weeks before the race to get himself accustomed to the climate, and in fact suffered a back injury, which he suffered before in the Motocross to Nations event last year. And Paul Malin, one of the favourites for the 125cc title as runner-up last year, unable to even compete in this race. A big disappointment then for the British rider. The fastest time in qualifying for Alessio Chiodi, the runner-up in 1995 in the 125. Second fastest, Luigi Segui. Third for Bob Moore on the Yamaha. And fourth fastest, Frederic Vial on another Yamaha. Outsiders including Brian Jorgensen, Alex Pouzar, a former champion himself, Pouzar, and looking to try and repeat that sort of victory again this year. Nicolas Charlier from France is another front runner. Carl Nunn, a British rider just 17 years old from Suffolk, is also one of the ones to watch. So we'll get into the first heat then, and the action straight away starts with the best start for Alessio Chiodi on number 121. He takes the initial lead from Frederic Vial and Bob Moore, the American. The runner-up in the 125cc when he first started in 89 and 90, but a champion himself, Bob Moore, a couple of years ago now, but looking to try and take the title again. He was no match for Sebastian Tortelli, who won this title in 1996, but they're all out to try and match that excellent performance again in this race. So leader of it is Alessio Chiodi. Bob Moore in second position now. He's moved up ahead of Frederic Vial, the Frenchman, and another Frenchman in fourth place. That's Luigi Segui. The four leaders really quite close together, but they're dropping the rest of them behind as Alessio Chiodi continues to establish the advantage here. There's Bob Moore in second position, 29-year-old American. But he's been competing on the European and international scene for quite a few years now. Chiodi then, back from riding in the 250 World Motocross Championship last year, has come back to the smaller bikes, the 125s, 90-kilo bikes, producing around 40 horsepower. And that seems to be suiting Chiodi better than the 250s, where he wasn't quite as competitive last season. Charlier up into fourth position now. And Claudio Federici there, just getting past Segui and moving up into fifth position. This is Alessandro Bellometti, number 7, just in the background there, and he's battling with Luigi Segui. Brian Jorgensen is not far behind, number 11. Alessio Chiodi still leads, though, very, very easily at the moment on the Yamaha. Still on the move up through the field, Claudio Federici, number 25. He's taken fourth place now from Nicolas Charlier. And Bellometti, number 7, is also on the move. In fact, he gets past Charlier as well. Charlier perhaps just beginning to feel the heat now. It's something like 40 degrees here, so it is very, very demanding on the riders. Difficult first race in the championship in these sort of conditions. There's Bob Moore running in second position. Frederic Vial, who finished third in the championship last year, he's running third place in this race. But nobody's a match for the brilliant Italian. Alessio Chiodi comes through to take victory. Trying to save some of his energy, however, for the second heat. Bob Moore finishes in second place and Frederic Vial in third. Top Brit, Tony Marshall in 18th position. Carl Nunn, unfortunately, out after just 5 laps. So on to the second heat now. And the massed rank of 125cc bikes gets underway as they all charge down in towards the first corner. Oh, and there's problems, several riders going wide, and there's 1 or 2 down as well. In fact, Luigi Segui is in the middle of that lot, and he was one of the front runners in the earlier heat. Oh dear, down go several riders, and that's causing all sorts of chaos behind them as everybody tries to pick their way past. Looks as though they've managed to recover, though, and that was Marcel van Drunen who went down there. There were problems for Pouzar as well. Meanwhile, Bob Moore is our leader, number 10. He's ahead of the winner of that first heat, Alessio Chiodi. Frederic Vial is up there once again, the Frenchman. So look at this, the battle for the lead. Number 10, Bob Moore. There he is, the American, but the winner of that first heat, Chiodi's coming back at him already. Number 121. Oh, and he's looking for a way past, trying to get through on the inside. Doesn't quite make it, but now side by side, and he does get past. Just flicks it up onto the banking. Chiodi sneaks ahead of Bob Moore, and he looks so strong. Looks as though the winter training program has worked well for Chiodi. Bob Moore back to second, Frederic Vial in third. Not quite able to keep up with that sort of performance. Alex Pouzard, number 100 there, a former champion himself, on the TM bike. And a faller there, that's sad to see. And looks as though he's basically all right. And that was Claudio Federici in trouble, the man we saw doing so well earlier on in the first heat. So it doesn't look as though he's going to repeat that sort of performance again. Luigi Seghi's on a good recovery ride. And meanwhile, Bob Moore still battling hard. Alex Pouzard, though, moving up there, number 100. He's getting past Frederic Vial. Or is he? Because Vial comes back at him again. Number 3, Frederic Vial, the Frenchman, just sneaks back ahead. There's our race leader, Alessio Chiodi, and he's really taken up a big advantage over Bob Moore and Frederic Vial. But Vial now putting the pressure on Bob Moore again. Still Alex Pouzard in there. So these three all battling for second place. Good close competition between the three of them. Vial is now in second place. Pouzard goes past Bob Moore. Bob Moore perhaps beginning to look a little bit tired now. He's got back to fourth position. Oh, and Andreas Kanstinger goes down in dramatic fashion, the German rider. Flailing through the air, but this is where the fatigue really is beginning to set in. Pouzard's now moved up to second place. And Nicolas Charlier has come up to third. Both Vial and Bob Moore are dropping back down the order. And it really does seem as though perhaps they're paying the penalty for battling hard in the early laps, as the tiredness begins to really take its toll. So Vial will end up down in 8th, but the winner of this second race, as he was in the first, Alessio Chiodi. Pouzard finishes second, Colomé finishes in third place, and at the end of it all, overall, Chiodi has 14 points advantage over Bob Moore, the American, in second place, and Alex Pouzard just one further point behind in third. The first round of the 250 World Motocross Championship took place at Talavera in Spain. You may well have seen our coverage here on Eurosport last week. And it was a brilliant performance from the newcomer to the 250 Championship, Sébastien Tortelli, the Frenchman, who won the 125cc title last year and came in straight into the 250s to win the first heat from pole position. Absolutely superb stuff. I didn't really try and manage my race, I just went for it. I didn't look behind me, I got into a good rhythm, and I wasn't really interested in what was happening behind me. Well, Tortelli seemed to pick up riding the 250 bike immediately, up against some of the top riders in the class for the last few years, the likes of Monique Beverts, the runner-up last year, and Stefan Everts, of course, the champion from last year. But even those two top riders were unable to stay with him in the first heat. It's clear that in the 250 Championship, the level is more competitive. In 250, you have 5 or 6 favourites, whereas in the 125 class, you perhaps only have 3 or 4. In 250, there are more top riders, and it's tougher. So what do the other 250 riders think about this new teenage sensation from France who's come in and shown them all the way to do it? We asked Frederic Bollet, who in fact is Sébastien Tortelli's teammate in the De Groot Kawasaki team. Frederic Bollet was actually injured, had a foot injury in Talavera, wasn't able to battle with Sébastien Tortelli, but he certainly has his opinions about the new young Frenchman. It's not a problem for me to have Sébastien as my teammate. It's a good thing for me. He's a 125cc world champion. I haven't won a world title myself, so he's going to be able to help me, I think, in many ways. He doesn't seem to suffer under the pressure in the same way, and if I can learn from that, then it'll be a good thing for me.
Et si j'arrive à me calquer sur sa façon d'être, sa façon d'aborder les courses, ça sera bien et c'est tant mieux. Je pense que c'est une bonne chose qu'il soit dans le team.
The battle between the two of them, Tortelli and Yves Demaro, should be quite interesting. Tortelli is the new star of French motocross and of world motocross now, whereas Di Maria has really been the reference point in French competition over the last few years.
Ça fait un adversaire de plus, c'est clair, puisqu'il est champion du monde l'année dernière.
For me, Tortelli is just another serious rival because he's the world champion. This year, the title will be played out between 5 or 6 riders. The French riders are good, but it's not just a French race. It's Belgian and American riders that are also very competitive. I think effectively the more consistent riders will win.
Le plus régulier et le meilleur gagnera.
Well, the start of Tortelli's career in 250s wasn't 100% perfect because in the second heat in Talavera, he made a few mistakes and indeed then fell when he was leading the race. So it was Talon Volland who took the win in that second heat. The question was, would Talon Volland have beaten Tortelli if Tortelli hadn't fallen? Well, Volland felt pretty confident with his performance in this first round in Spain and felt that he could have well taken the battle to Sebastian Tortelli, whatever had happened.
You know, that's a little maybe unknown question. He can be good. We will see. He for sure was very good last year, and I think that for sure he's a very good rider, and he has a lot of potential. But my goal is to win, and I want to beat everybody. I think that he will be in there for the win this year, but it'll just depend on his consistency. I think that would be important for him, and me, I just try to win.
What about the reigning world champion, Stefan Everts on the #1 bike? Everts and Tortelli had a big battle in the second heat. A tightly fought contest as Tortelli was trying to recover from the earlier mistake and get past the great Belgian rider. In the end, Tortelli was able to get past Stefan Everts. But Everts did have a few troubles. The bike wasn't perfectly set up, and physically he feels he's still not yet in top condition.
I wasn't so surprised because I know how it is when you come from the 125 class. Everything goes so easy, you ride so aggressive. No, it's not difficult, it's very easy. I changed from 91 to 92. So 92 was my first 250 season, and the first season went so easy. And you know, the speed, you have the speed, you know, and he's world champion, so definitely he's going to be fast. And for him, it's not going to be difficult to have the speed.
But it wasn't all perfect, as we say, for Tortelli, because he took the win in the first heat, but he suffered an injury in that second heat, which has meant that he had to miss the Portuguese Grand Prix, and his comeback in Holland is also in doubt because of that injury. So the question, will Tortelli be so strong when they get to Spain? And will he be able to maintain the sort of charge that we've seen in this opening round in Talavera? Something else has changed this year in the 250 World Motocross Championships, and that's the higher level of professionalism, particularly indicated by the number of big trucks that are now seen in the paddock. Some pretty impressive looking motorhomes as well, and the whole image of motocross is now beginning to rise. It's not quite the same level as Grand Prix motorcycle racing on the circuits, for example, but motocross is beginning to become more and more professional. Part of that comes from the American flavor in motocross. In the United States, motocross has a high image and, of course, has some great trucks, trailers, and transporters, and that certainly is spreading its way now into Europe.
So we have a bedroom up there. We have another double bed down there. Then we have the fridge, the microwave. We have the kitchen. Then we have the bathroom, the shower. Another 2 beds here. But this is normally the meeting room. So we have a table there, and then this is just to be private. This is the working room. We have the bikes here. We have all the spare parts, and all what's got to do with the mechanic and with the racing. So then we have another room for the mechanics to sleep. We have 3 beds. This is another shower, toilet.
Well, we wanted to, both Stefan and myself, we both wanted something that's different. And it was time to, Giuseppe was putting a lot of effort in to bring the motocross image up. And the only way we could bring our image up was to be the biggest and the best in here with the best trailers. And it goes on from there. You have the #1 rider, you've got to have the best equipment.
Well, it's a very important question when you see the size of the transporter and the equipment. How much does it all cost?
A lot. Around, I can't tell you, but a lot. A lot? A lot of money, yes. Yes? Yeah, you can see it's all custom built. Everything has been custom designed and built. I bought the trailers, we bought the tractor in the front, the Volvo tractor. No, it's a lot of money. Okay. I think it's money well spent.
So Dave Grant, not giving away too much in that, but of course there are not always the big trailers, the big transporters for all of the riders on the World Motocross Championship scene. There are some much smaller motorhomes for the privateers, the guys who don't ride for the full works team. So we met up with one of those, Thierry Bettis, the Frenchman.
Alors là, en fait, moi, j'ai un petit
well, I use
Iveco, et donc
an Iveco camping van.
Il y a une partie
part of the van is for the bikes, and
donc
the
c'est vrai
first
que c'est
part,
assez
the
petit.
front of the van is obviously for living accommodation. It's pretty tight in there. We've got 3 people living inside, myself, my mechanic, and my wife. So there's not a lot of space, but there's just about enough.
Qui me suit régulièrement.
Thierry Bettis works on a budget of around £20,000 throughout the course of the year, but his dream is to become one of the works riders, the likes of Stefan Everts, for example. He'd love to be in that position.
C'est vrai qu'un jour, si je pouvais rentrer
If I could one of these days ride in one of the big teams, that would be the top of my career. But right now, it's just a dream.
Mais bon, il faut rêver un petit peu.
In Talavera, Bettis proved that a privateer can battle with the top riders. In the second heat, he fought with Stefan Everts and then with Talon Vollen and Pit Byra. Eventually, he finished in 7th place overall in the Grand Prix and the top privateer, but just behind the Works 250 riders. Bettis was in good form, and it looks as though he was in for a good, strong season. But unfortunately, the next round in Portugal, he crashed, he broke his leg, and that means he's going to be out of action for a little while. So sadness for Thierry Bettis, but no doubt his dream of getting into one of the works teams is still as strong as ever. We'll be back after the break with more World Motocross action, this time from the Open Championship in Lommel in Belgium.
ProGrid, the force of lightning.
Welcome back to Kick, and we now go to round 1 of the Open World Motocross Championship from Lommel in Belgium. Slightly wetter weather than we saw in Talavera in Spain for the 250s, but a new championship about to begin. And a big battle between the favourites, the likes of Shane King, the winner of the championship last year, and returning to the 500s or the Open Championship, Britain's Kurt Nicholl, 4 times runner-up in the series, with a KTM this year and with a strong chance of taking the title. Fastest in his qualifying group, Peter Dirks on the number 17, the Belgian on home territory here. The Honda bike working well. Kurt Nicholl going extremely well in that qualifying group as well, though. Back to the open class, and the KTM giving him the 2nd fastest time. 3rd fastest time for Avo Leok from Estland, former part of the Soviet Union, and another one to watch, no doubt about that. Johan Boden has moved from Husqvarna to KTM suddenly for the start of this season, and he is looking very strong with the 4th fastest time. Daryl King has also made a change this year. He's moved from his Honda to Husqvarna. And there's some new guys racing on new bikes. Well, Peter Johansson might not be a new rider, but he's on a new bike, the Yamaha YZM 400 4-stroke. Along with Andrea Bartolini, they're hoping that the new Yamaha will be competitive throughout the season. Bad news, though, for Trampas Parker, who failed to qualify, surprisingly, and didn't make it in to the race at all. In the other group, fastest time for Gert van Dorn, second fastest for the reigning champion Shane King, and third for Bartolini. Let's get on with the first heat then, and the best start for Avo Leok. Leok takes the initial lead and really opens up quite an advantage on the big machines. Remember, there's a mixture in the open class of the big 4 strokes of over 600cc, the Husqvarnas and the Husabergs, and the 2 strokes like the KTMs that, for example, Kurt Nickel is riding on the number 91. That's a 368cc 2-stroke engine, different style of engine, different style of power delivery as well, but the Open Championship sees the 4 strokes and the 2 strokes very evenly matched. Still leading, though, Avo Leok, and as the mud begins to obscure the number plates, it all makes life a little bit more difficult to follow. Leok still leading ahead of Dietmar Lacker, Joel Smets. James Marsh went well in the early runnings, the other British rider in the event. But now we've got Shane King down in the pack, surprisingly far down for him. Jackie Martins has moved up well. There he is, number 7. He's moved into second position, as in the falling rain, Avo Leok, the leader of the race, tries to stay in front. There's Kurt Nickel. He's also going well. And Martins, who in fact now has taken over the lead. Leok, in fact, has had a fall. We saw him there, looked as though he was still on his own, but he's had a fall and has had to rejoin. Shane King is not going well on the sand. He doesn't like this sort of surface. And Kurt Nickel, number 91, coming up to pass Avo Leok and move himself up into second position. Gert van Dorn running in third place. And meanwhile, number 2 there, Joel Smets, he's down in 7th position. So coming towards the end of the race now, and Jackie Martins is looking good to take the victory. Meanwhile, the Yamahas of Bartolini and Johansson running 8th and 12th, but there's Martins coming through to win the race. But Kurt Nickel finishes in second position, Gert van Dorn in third.
Yeah, the first race was very good. It was, yeah, I was driving very easy, very nice, and yeah, I was winning like 25 seconds. Before in the practicing, I never can think about that it was going that easy.
So a strong performance from Jackie Martins, good performance from Kurt Nickel, making his return from 250s, and he'll be pleased with that. The KTM running extremely well. Honda of Van Dorn in third place. Avo Leok on the Kawasaki, the guy who was leading for much of that race but had the tumble. Well, he ended up finishing in 4th place, so not a bad performance at all. Marsh ended up down in 20th position. So we're on to the second heat now. And a good start for Dietmar Lacker, number 4. Leok still up there again. Jonty Engdahl, Caprani, Van Dorn, Bonen, Daryl King and Johansson, the rest of the front runners. Still horrendous conditions, very heavy work indeed on this wet sand, but Avo Leok has now taken over the lead ahead of Engdahl, number 23. 1 or 2 problems here for Joel Smets. Not going quite according to plan, and that's a bit of a surprise for the front runner in the championship. Interesting to see, in fact, some of the favourites, the likes of Shane King and Joel Smets, in trouble here at Lommel. And I wonder if we're going to see a change around this season in terms of the people we should expect to be winning the races. Joel Smets making a bit of a recovery now. But out front, still Avo Leok has control of this race. Van Dorn and Bonen struggling their way around. Van Dorn number 6, Johan Bonen number 11. And this is the battle for second position now. Leok still leads, but Johan Bonen's now moved up into second place. There he is, number 11. Now remember, Bonen switching to a 2-stroke KTM for this season, and it seems to be suiting him very well indeed. Smets has now closed up to Peter Johansson. But things are going on up front because Avo Leok has come under pressure, and indeed Johan Bonen has gone past. Johan Bonen now, the 28-year-old experienced competitor in the Open Championship, comes through to take the victory on the KTM.
All
thought so, but it's very hard. I had a very nice bike to handling, but I have a lot of less power than last year. And on some tracks it's better, but on this track you have to work very hard on the bike.
So the overall winner of the event, Ave Leok, ahead of Geert van Dorn and Johan Bonen. Very close though in the points, with Kurt Nichols still there in 6th place, only 8 points behind the others. So that's it from Kick for this week. Join us again next week for more World Motocross Championship. Hello and welcome to Kick here on Eurosport with Ben Edwards, and this week's coverage of motocross starts with the 250 World Championship in Breux in France. Then we cross over to Switzerland, to Payerne for the Open Championship and some extremely muddy riding conditions. It's round 5 of the 250 World Motocross Championship in Breux in France. It's 130 kilometers west of Paris on the way to Le Mans, and something like 30,000 spectators coming out to watch. Well, the fans turning up for some of the top French riders, of course, Sébastien Tortelli, Frédéric Bollé and Yves de Maria. But Yves de Maria not racing this time. He was injured in the previous round in Italy at Singoli. He had a heavy fall. He tried to come out in practice here, but could only set the 13th fastest time in Group A. So Yves de Maria deciding to stay out of the competition this weekend. I haven't practiced for a fortnight, so I always knew it would be difficult. I decided to try because it's a very important GP, but after practice I realized I was off the pace and the pain was just too distracting, so I decided to retire as the championship is still in its early stages. Maybe it's better not to race here in order to be fit for next weekend. But the French fans still have a rider to support, of course, in Sébastien Tortelli, the reigning 125 champion who's made such an impressive debut in the 250 championship this year. And indeed, fastest in the Group A qualifying session by nearly 2 seconds over anybody else. Sébastien Tortelli once again emphasizing his talent on the Kawasaki. But, unfortunately, Tortelli suffered a heavy fall in the Sunday morning free practice. Still confident, though, for the race.
Ça a vraiment été bien samedi.
It went okay on Saturday. I rode well, and I was happy despite a few little mistakes. Then Saturday, then Sunday rather, I stalled at the summit of a jump, and I crashed pretty heavily. I'm suffering a little bit, but nothing's broken, so it should be okay. Second in Group A, the Belgian, Monique Bevert, second in the championship at the moment as well. Just 13 points ahead of Tortelli, but 20 points behind Stefan Everts. He had a pretty bad time in the last round of the series in Singoli in Italy, so he'll be looking to make up for that. The leader of the championship, third fastest, the double reigning world champion at Belgian, Stefan Everts. 2.5 seconds slower than Tortelli, though, and knows that Tortelli will be in good form here on home soil in France. Everts looking to try and extend his championship lead.
Yeah, he went really fast. First, I couldn't believe it, but then in the time practice he did again a few fast laps, and he's going really fast. So I think he's a big contender for today, and but we'll see. The race is long, and it's not the time practice what counts. It's the race. So I have still the confidence.
Let's take the advantage of the possibility to do a lap of this Breux circuit with that man we were just speaking to, Stefan Everts, the reigning champion. Sit back and enjoy the ride aboard his Honda CR250 motocross machine. Coming around towards the end of the lap now, Stefan Everts, it just gives you an idea how long this lap is on this French round of the 250 World Championship. A lap completed by Everts in 2 minutes 44 seconds, but a lap completed by Sebastian Telly in a time of 2 minutes 41. But as Everts said before, we saw that onboard lap. It's all about the race. That's what really counts. Fastest in Group B, a bit of a surprise, as Stefan Everts' teammate was the best. Jamie Skevenels finished 16th in the championship last year, but he's really improving his performance this year.
It was first time in my life. I was already feeling very confident in practice. Since Italy, I got some different suspension, and my riding is a lot more with self-confidence. And you know, first I took the third time, and I felt I could go faster, and I went out again, and I took the pole.
Second fastest in that group, Frédéric Bollé, after a difficult comeback in Valkenswaard. He finished fourth in the Italian Grand Prix the following weekend. Bollé is fit again and confident and looking to battle for victory here in France. The track is different today. It's a lot more muddy as they watered it a lot during the night. I think it's going to be different, but I'm confident, and I think it's possible to get a podium here. If I make some good starts, there shouldn't be any problem. Third fastest, the American Mike Brown. He took his first bunch of points in Singoli, but he's got some more pressure on here, as he's Rinaldi's only rider here. Brew, after Talon Voland was injured in Italy, he's not competing in this round of the championship. So to the usual autograph session. After the warm-up, the fans getting a chance to get close to the riders, and we'll be back after the break to see how the races went in the 250 World Championship. So we're ready for the racing to get underway here in Brugge. The fifth round of the series, the 250 is about to get into action. Stefan Everts leads the championship, remember, from Monique Bavert. He has a 20-point advantage, but what can Sebastian Tortelli, the local favourite, do here after his success in the previous round in Italy? So let's get the first race underway then. 45 minutes plus a lap. It's hard work. We've got a faller at the back of the group already, but as they charge into the first corner, it's number 22, and that's Britain's Mark Eastwood, who leads as they all set off on this opening lap. Mark Eastwood making an absolutely superb start there and being chased by Paul Cooper. In fact, no, Paul Cooper's got ahead, number 15. There he is, Paul Cooper, number 15, ahead of number 22, Mark Eastwood. So the two British riders in great form here, and this track really seems to be suiting them superbly well. Third place for the number 9, that's Dalbasco, but in fact he goes through. There's Carlson, Joachim Carlson, that is going through. Carlson gives a little wave of thanks, and Carlson moves up a position, but Cooper leads from Carlson in second, Eastwood in third. Justin Morris is up there as well, another British rider going well. In fourth place, Everts is back in fifth, then Dalbasco, and then Bavert in seventh place, and Tortelli some way behind that as well. Everts on a charge. He now takes fourth place from Justin Morris. Morris on the RWJ Diesel Honda, the team that Everts rode for last year. But Everts taking that place and now going chasing after the leaders of this race. Still, it's Paul Cooper who leads, and Paul Cooper riding an absolutely superb race at the moment. Eastwood still in second, Everts now in third, then Morris, Bollé, Bavert, Dalbasco, Tortelli in 9th position. Number 24, there's Sebastian Tortelli. Bit of a surprise to see him so far back at this stage. Look at Eastwood go there. He's now being chased by Everts. Then Justin Morris with Frédéric Bollé not far behind. And there goes Tortelli. Eastwood and Everts. Mark Eastwood now coming under increasing pressure from the double world champion. And in fact, Everts comes through ahead of Eastwood. So Everts has now taken third position there. But Eastwood still riding one of the races of his life here. Meanwhile, the battle continues as Justin Morris under pressure from Frédéric Bollé. And there you can see Bollé just squeezing past on the replay as Paul Cooper still leads, but Carlson is getting closer now. Carlson, number 9. Also on the RWJ Diesel's machine. The Honda goes through on the inside. Paul Cooper on the SoCal Kawasaki. He's been leading the early stages of this race, but he can't hold off from Joachim Karlsson. Karlsson, who won one of the races in Portugal in the second event of the championship. And Everts there, coming through in third place. Battle for fourth position. Eastwood, Frederic Bollet, number 5. And then next up is Sebastian Tortelli. So he's made up some ground now, beginning to make a little bit of progress. The 18-year-old sensation of the 250 scene this year. Eastwood and Bollet. Then Tortelli. Battle for fourth position this has become now. And as the race progresses, Bollet has got past, so has Tortelli. They've both got past Eastwood now. So Mark Eastwood not quite able to maintain the pace of these World Championship front runners as we go through the race, but it's still an excellent performance he's putting on. But what about Paul Cooper as well? He's still up there near the front. There's our leader, Joachim Karlsson. But where is Cooper? Where is Cooper? He's gone. There he is. He's dropped back a little bit. He's behind Stefan Everts now. So Everts up into second position. And there's Cooper in third place. Meanwhile, further back, Sebastian Tortelli beginning to put the pressure on Frederic Bollet. This is the battle between the two French riders. Bollet more experienced in the 250 scene, but Tortelli already a winner overall in the championship this year. Won that last round in Italy. His first overall success, and he comes through ahead this time. So as they come round to complete another lap, Tortelli has got past Frederic Bollet, and that little French battle is sorted for the moment. Meanwhile, Joachim Karlsson, the race leader, under pressure now from Stefan Everts. Everts now on a charge, and Everts slips through on the inside. Just a little bit of a nudge with Karlsson, but Stefan Everts, the leader of the championship, goes ahead. And the number 1 rider goes past the bike of his former team. Karlsson in second place. Coming through in third is Tortelli, and Cooper. Cooper has dropped right back now. Paul Cooper has had a fall, and he is now out of the action. What a shame after such a good ride from Paul Cooper. And Tortelli it is now, who is closing up on the leaders and making this a three-way battle for the win. There's Frederic Bollet. He's back in fourth position. And Mark Eastwood still in fifth place, but the checker flag for the first race completes. And Everts wins ahead of Karlsson and Tortelli. Mark Eastwood finishes in an excellent fifth place.
I didn't get so good in the start, but I was catching the guys one by one. And Joachim took me a little while to catch him, but I waited for my moment. And I waited for a good moment, and I passed him. And after that, I tried to make a small gap. And I did. On the end, I had 5 seconds, and it was a very good race for me.
So Stefan Everts winning from Karlsson and Tortelli. Best lap for Tortelli, though, in that race. Fastest as he was in the practice runs. On to the second race then. And as they all charge in the first quarter, number 24, no, Eastwood, number 22 makes another excellent start. But it looks as though, oh dear, we've got bikes all down in the background there. Beverts is involved in that. Number 2, Monique Beverts, about 12 other riders. There is Beverts rejoining. And bad news for the man who came into this round in second place in the championship. Up front, Tortelli leads. Eastwood is in second place. Leon Giespers is third, but under pressure from Justin Morris once again, number 26. Morris riding an absolutely superb event here, but Tortelli leads. And that is bad news for his main rivals because he's getting away. Eastwood is in second, Giespers third. Everts has come up to fourth ahead of Morris in fifth position. And Pit Byra now has come up to sixth place on the number 7 bike. There's Tortelli, and just look at the lead. He's already beginning to open up here. Fastest man in the practice, fastest in that first race, but he had a lot of work to do in the first race after a poor start. Now he's had a good start, and he's taking the best advantage of it. Meanwhile, this is the battle between Stefan Everts, number 1, and Leon Giespers, number 17, as the battle for third. And Everts goes into third position. Karlsson there in the battle with Frederic Bollet, number 9, and number 5. A few other riders involved there as well. Giespers, number 17. Bollet's got past Karlsson. Meanwhile, Everts has taken second place from Eastwood. There is Eastwood, back down to third again now. But Tortelli is still the race leader, remember, as Stefan Everts goes on the chase. Now I wonder if Everts can close up this gap. Everts the winner of the first race. But Tortelli looking quick. Bolle in the battle with Leon Giespers. And Pit Byra has gone down, so we've lost him from the equation now. Look at this, Bolle is getting a huge cheer from the crowd as he goes chasing after Justin Morris. Morris, number 26. The British rider, one of the three British riders, all going well here this weekend at Bru in France, but they can't hold off the Frenchman. With a bit of local support, Frédéric Bolle goes through. As meanwhile, Monique Verwerts is making quite a comeback. Number 2, there he is. He was 32nd after lap 1, but he's now making some progress, and he's got up into a top 15 position at the moment. So Verwerts on a good charge there. Tortelli's opened up a 15-second lead now over Stefan Everts. Fantastic riding once again from this youngster. He certainly hasn't had it all his own way in the 250 championship, but having moved up from the 125, it's a tremendous battle in the championship really now between him and this man, Stefan Everts. Twice champion, but Everts knows he's got a battle on his hands this year. But if Everts can just keep the consistency, Tortelli's shown that he's prone to the odd mistake. Meanwhile, look at this, the battle between Eastwood, number 22, Frédéric Bolle, number 5. Close physical contest, but Bolle goes through. And Frédéric Bolle getting a tremendous cheer now as he goes up into third place, but the checker flag comes out. Tortelli wins it. Everts finishes in second place, but wins the event overall, and Frédéric Bolle comes through to take third. Well, it was important for me to ride well here and to win a heat, being here in France, and it's good for French sports to show that we're at the top level in this.
I think I win 2 points or 3 points on him, and that's the most important thing. It's only 2 or 3 points, but maybe end of the season it's just 1 or 2 points difference, and those points are very value for me.
So good effort from Stefan Everts there. Meanwhile, Mark Eastwood had a 5th overall in the GP. Justin Morris was 7th overall. So a brilliant performance from those two. Mark Eastwood's moved up to 12th in the championship now. And we'll be back after the break with the Open Motocross Championship.
The force of lightning.
It's round 4 of the Open Motocross World Championship in Payerne in Switzerland, but very, very wet conditions. It's really been a bit of a bad luck season so far for the Open contenders. They had one of the last rounds cancelled. That was the round in Austria due to bad weather conditions and snow. Kurt Nicol, Britain's rider, had qualified in second place there, but with the event being cancelled, obviously no chance to score points. Still, he likes these conditions, so let's see how he gets on against the other top riders in the Open Championship. The big 500cc 4-strokes up against the 360cc 2-strokes. And at the start of the race, the Bernd Eckenbach has the early lead over Geert van Dorn. Kurt Nicol there, riding well on the KTM number 91, up in third place. Just look at the conditions, though. The mud and wetness just absolutely abysmal. Still, Nicol likes these conditions as much as anybody can like them. It means that he goes well in these conditions, probably more than actually liking them, because riding in this sort of weather really makes life very difficult. Race leader Bernd Eckenbach seems to be well suited to these wet conditions, but Kurt Nicol's had a fall. Third place he was in, but he's had a fall, and even though he might like the conditions, it doesn't always go well. He rips his goggles off, but now he's trying to contend with seeing what's going on. No goggles, trying to get bits of mud and grit out of his eye. And not very nice conditions. He's rejoined ahead of Andrea Bartolini. Nicol just 3 points behind him in the championship coming into this race. Meanwhile, Joel Smets is moving up. There he is, number 2, taking second place from Geert van Dorn. And Smets, who won the last, well, in fact, hasn't had any wins so far this year, but has been up there. He had a 4th place overall in the opening round of the championship, 3rd overall in the second round in Italy. The rain continues to fall. Number 10, Eckenbach, still leads at the moment. Joel Smets in second position. But In fact, problems for our race leader, Eckenbach. Eckenbach has dropped back. There he is, number 10. And Eckenbach has had a fall, so in fact, although he had that huge lead, he's now dropped back, and he's got Shane King chasing after him again. Well, there is Ben Eckenbach, but it's not proving to be a particularly good afternoon for him, having had that initial huge advantage. It all gets lost, and it's Joel Smets who comes through to take the win in this first race. He struggles his way through the rain and the mud. Second place for Bartolini, third for Shane King, and Kurt Nickel comes through to take fourth place.
I think the slower you were going, or the easier you took it, the faster you were going, I think. And that's the way I looked at the race. And for sure, the first 15 minutes, I knew it would be very important to take it easy, no mistakes in the beginning, and just picking up the right speed.
So on to the second race with the track already pretty cut up. They'd actually already cut off part of the track. They've roped off two of the loops of the track because it's just too impassable, but things getting even worse. And look at this, into the first corner. We've got loads of riders down as they all try and struggle their way through. Joel Smets, the winner of that first race, is in the lead. Kurt Nickel is in second position. And then through the mud and the grime. Just look how slow they're having to go just to get through. Shane King is in third. Fourth place for Ben Eckenbach, leader of that first race. And the bike, heavy with mud, hardly seems to want to fly through the air. Kurt Nickel having a little look behind him. Smets has opened up a bit of a gap. No, he hasn't, because in fact Kurt Nickel's gone through. Nickel now leads. Smets has had a fall. He's back to second. Shane King is in third. And Kurt Nickel now trying to continue in the lead. Oh, he's got stuck. Kurt Nickel leading this race. And this is just a joke, really, with these conditions. And Joel Smets is able to go past and retake the lead again, as does Shane King. And poor old Kurt Nickel trying to get the bike out of the mud. What a disaster. Just got stuck in the rut. Well, he's got it going again. Well, that's dropped him down the order, obviously. And he's now running in fifth place. Shane King in second, but he has a tumble as well. He drops down to sixth place. And it's Joel Smets who keeps it all together and wins in these remarkably awful conditions. From Van Dorn in second, Walkner in third, Nickel finishing in fifth and taking fifth place overall in the event. So, after some very strange conditions, Kurt Nickel has moved up to third place in the championship, but Smets has a 20-point lead now in the Open World Motocross Series. In the next round, they'll be going to the Czech Republic and hopefully a little bit less rain. Second round of the French Motocross Championship taking place near Orléans, slightly further south in France, but a few of the top riders missing from this race. Sébastien Tortelli, Frédéric Bollet and Thierry Bettis, all of them have been injured in recent races, so unable to compete. For the others, the weekend starts with a press conference given by the French Federation President Jean-Pierre Mougin. It's a conference to announce the 1997 Supercross Championship in France. There'll be 4 rounds held at Le Mans, Lyon, Marseille and Metz. They'll all be indoor events and they'll all be held over 2 nights of competition. But into the action here of the Motocross Championship, starting off with the 250 race, the first of the 250 races. There are 2 250 races, 2 125 races, and then they put them all together for the super finale. And we get the first race underway. 25 minutes plus 2 laps, and the initial lead goes to Jean-Claude Mousset, ahead of Pierrick Paget, number 30, and Arnaud Dumista, number 33, ahead of Nicolas Caillier in 4th position. Dumista takes the lead on the opening lap. Paget has moved up into 2nd place. Caillier on the Honda in 3rd. Mousset on the KTM. He's now dropped down to 4th position, number 32 there at the back of the group. Paget, though, taking the lead from de Meester, but it doesn't last. And Paget suffering a fall, which means that the battle then continues with Nicolas Caillet, number 17, then taking over the lead from Onur de Meester, number 33. In third position is number 28, Olivier Lambert. And behind him, Jan Guedard, taking fourth place from Jean-Claude Musset, just 2 laps before the flag. So Nicolas Caillet wins the 250 race ahead of de Meester and Lambert. So to the start of the first of the 125cc races now, Serge Guitetti gets the whole shot, leads ahead of Luigi Segui, Rodrigue Tan and Nicolas Charlier. But watch out for Frederic Vial on a charge already. Vial on the number 2 machine, number 2 Yamaha, one of the top riders on the 125 scene, and it's Frederic Vial who soon comes up, makes his presence felt, getting past the number 9 bike of Luigi Segui. That's put him up into second place, and now Frederic Vial chasing after the leader and gets past him as well, takes the lead from Guidetti. Further back, there are problems though, and there's a clash between 2 riders. Down goes Lafay and Pommier. And a slightly painful fall, but no major injuries. Half race distance, Frederic Vial still leading. Michael Machiot's come up to second place now. Luigi Segui still there in third, number 9. And David Villemin, number 8's come up to fourth. One of the front runners in the 125. Another youngster to watch out for, trying to follow in the footsteps of Sebastian Tortelli, the world champion on the 125s last year, and the man who's impressing so many people in the 250s already. Good battling going on there. Machiot getting past, but then dropping back again. This is the battle for the lead. Michael Machiot, one of the more experienced French motocross riders, but so is Frederic Vial, and not able to hold on to that place. So it's Vial who comes through to win. Machiot finishes second, and David Villemin finishes third. We're back to the second race of the 250s now, and an unusual name, Rudolf Bo, takes the lead in the opening laps. Number 50, there he is. Bo on the Honda, ahead of number 33, Arnaud de Meester. We saw him go well in the first race. Cyril Port's up there. And also up there is the number 22 rider, Chiampi. Down goes a nasty fall there. In fact, he's had a rock in the eye and bleeding quite badly. That's the number 41, Meyer. Christoph Meyer on the Honda, in trouble early on. Number 33, Arnaud de Meester then, going well. Port has dropped back a little bit. De Meester in the lead now. Cyril Port in second position. And the winner of the earlier race, Nicolas Caillet, number 17, has had a fall. But he's now working his way back up, and in fact, he's moved himself into third position. Caillet now taking second place from Cyril Port. And Caillet, a superb ride up to second. The winner comes through. That's Arnaud de Meester, but Nicolas Caillet comes through to second. The Yamaha wins it from the Honda in second place. Cyril Port finishing in third. So now the second 125 race gets underway. And Frederic Vial, hoping to make it 2 wins out of 2 races, gets the lead ahead of Jérôme Emery on the Suzuki, then Luigi Segui, Nicolas Charlier, and Michael Machiot, number 7, not far behind. On to lap 3, Vial still leads Segui in second position though now. Segui's moved up a little bit. There he is, number 9. Segui on the TM, slightly less common bike, certainly in road terms. The TM very, very well known in the world of motocross. So there's the Yamaha, still a Frederic Vial who leads, going past there, though Nicolas Charlier, number 10, taking second place from Segui, and Villemin taking third in the last few laps. But it's Frederic Vial who's coming through to take a second win ahead of Nicolas Charlier on the Kawasaki, and David Villemin on another Honda. Rather, Yamaha. On the Yamaha, a Honda in fourth with Michael Machiot. So we're on to the super final now. The 125 and 250 best riders come together, and it's a 40-minute race. It's a demanding track physically, this one. 40 minutes plus 2 laps, and it's going to be hard work all the way through to the end. Arnaud de Meester leads initially ahead of Bo in second place. Cyril Port in third, then Segui and Musset in 5th place. lap number 3, and Denise leads. Lambert, though, has come up into second position. There he is, number 28, riding well in the early stages of this super final, but also going well. Nicholas Cayley, number 17, and we've seen how well he's been riding throughout the 250 heats so far. Demista still leads, but watch out behind, because number 2, Frederic Vial, he might be taking a bit of tape with him, but he's on a charge. He's working his way up, the winner of both of the 125 races. And there's really not much in it between the 125s and 250s on this tight course. And in fact, perhaps the 125 riders have a slight advantage as the race continues and the physical pounding begins to take effect. Frederic Vial really going well. And he's now, in fact, taken the lead. Number 2's out in front. Demista's back to second. Nicholas Cayley's third. Wielemin in fourth place. Well, that's all changed already as Vial battles with Wielemin. Wielemin number 8. Vial number 2. The 2 Yamaha 125cc riders. These both on the 125s. Close battle between the two of them. Exciting stuff in this super final of the second round of the French Motocross Championship. But it looks as though it's just going to be Frederic Vial who wins it. And Wielemin just making a mistake towards the end, dropping down to second place. And that's where he is in the championship. Good battle going on in the series, though. Hope you've enjoyed this first edition of Wheelies. There'll be plenty more motorcycle action throughout the year from Ben Edwards. Bye-bye.